Struggling. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and today I want to show you guys what happens when you push a snowball down a mountain. It's not good. I'll show you real quick just something that we did on the Camaro. This still has had a couple oil leaks at the turbo feed and return, so you guys didn't get to see a lot about this car. Maybe we'll do a little video on it in spring, but we just recently deleted the mufflers, so I'll show you what quality exhaust work looks like. Looks good. Kind of follows the torque arm. Evenly spaced. Not pointing right into the wheels and tires like the old mufflers were. But this is what I attached it to, which is unfortunate, but redoing the whole thing was not part of the plan. They are not as sticklers about what the exhaust looks like as much as I am. So I'll give you guys a little clip on what that sounds like later in this video, just so you can hear something running rather than just hearing my voice talk. Late start today. We have main update for you guys today is going to be on Zach's 3 valve, so kind of our grudgy build, and we're doing some major weight reduction. So you gotta know what you're getting into when you're gonna start building a car like this. And when I say a car like this, I mean pretty much like a max effort deal. Weight is huge. We're gonna learn a lot about how huge it is when we have this car, because somebody put a 4-point roll cage or roll bar in it. No, it's 6 point, sorry. They put it in there, and we weighed the car, and it was pretty heavy. I mean, it was like 3,500 pounds or something like that, or 3,300 pounds. But with the cage in there, you can't get any of the interior plastics out. So if you're building a race car, you should gut what's behind it. None of this stuff was taken out. This is like the basic stuff. Rear deck lid speakers, rear seat belts. These ones are actually the rear seat belts, to be technical. The front seat belts were still in there. Had 5-point RCI harnesses, but had front seat belts that were just cut and hidden behind the plastic. There's another 10 pounds. The foams, which is just ounces, but ounces make pounds. Emergency brake assembly, we're not going to be using that anymore. Steering wheel assembly, we're not going to be using that anymore. Handful of modules that I hope we don't have to use, but I started ripping the body harness out of it, so I ripped that out. And that leads me to the snowball story. So last night I was starting to work on it. I don't know if you guys have seen, the tube front end is on. The fenders and the bumper and everything fits really nice on this. I got the hood pins on it. The only thing I'm adding, which it didn't even have with the full front end, is I'm going to put hood stops on it now to help the alignment of the end of the hood onto the fender. It never really fit good before. Car's had some body work here and there, and the hood is obviously aftermarket from Canon. It's really heavy too, which is a bummer. But when you close this, my hood pin's not tight yet. It's still kind of dancing in there. These sit a little low. So I'm going to weld a hood stop to that bar there. And that trippy looking bent up piece with some, that was my way of mounting the headlight. I think it looks cool. I think it looks alright, and I think when it's painted it'll look alright, and I think it's really light compared to putting the whole top wing from Rock Solid Motorsports on it. I think I probably did about half the weight of what that thing weighs, because I know what that weighs. Maybe even less. And I also used a lighter weight tube for the headlight support here, because they give you like another one of these ones, and that's about half the weight of that. Then I don't think it really needed much for this. So I did make a couple changes just to lighten it up a little bit. I think I could have left this bar out and used something a little bit smaller there too for this application, but I figured that wasn't a bad idea, so we left it in there. And then here's the snowball. So this is going to go back in, although it is pretty heavy. I wouldn't mind making this out of carbon, because it's probably like 3 or 4 pounds. You could probably make it like I don't know, 10 ounces or so out of carbon. Center console's out, also kind of heavy in the back. Like this plastic in the front half isn't bad, but the compartment here that holds the stuff, there's like a USB charger, and I got some junk in there, which probably is skewing my perception of the weight, but you know, we're probably gonna end up doing something there. We want to keep it looking factory interior, so it's gonna go back in. Dashboard, this was already kind of gutted. They have a lot of stuff taken out of it. The airbag was already taken out of it. This was the switch panel that was being used, and it doesn't weigh a lot. It's plastic, so that's okay. I don't think I'm going to be able to do a whole lot of lightening on the actual dash support, because I don't want to have to make mounting tabs to hang this back on. So if I start cutting stuff off of it and then I got to weld stuff back onto it, it's not going to get any lighter, and I'm going to spend a bunch of time, because they use, for the most part, just pretty thin sheet metal. So it's relatively light. The main thing being the crash bar across the middle, which that's just added safety and not a bad idea to keep. So that's okay. I took out like the visors. Those are coming out. I'm going to try to leave the dome light in it, but we're going to have to figure out how to wire that in, make sure that works. And the wiring is where this all goes south. Cue Halloween music. This is scary. So this is body harness stuff. I'm not too scared about this. This is easy to reference somewhere. We'll be able to find it online. But look at that shit. That is primarily holley, battery relocation, engine bay wire tuck, all jammed up underneath the dash of this thing, and it is atrocious. It is a complete and total mess. It's awful. So bad, in fact, that probably going to need an entirely new holley harness. We're going to just do unterminated and make it ourselves. The body harness is going to try to get weeded down to nothing, because there's a ton of wires in it, and we need like headlights, taillights, power windows, power locks. If we get carried away and we make it work, power mirrors, I guess, because it's already in there. And that's it. And then the one thing that I'm concerned about the S197 chassis on doing a race body harness, basically, is what we call it, race wired, which is the bare minimum, which is what we did in that Fox body over there. We used a speed wire, relay board, a switch panel, and just used as little as possible to make it really light. We took almost, I would estimate, I can't tell you exactly, but I think we took probably 80 pounds of wiring out of that car by taking the 0304 Cobra harness that he literally had front to back, Cobra body harness, Cobra everything, and just putting in a holley and that speed wire system. I think it was a lot lighter. So now we're going to do the same thing to this. The difference is on the S197s, if you're not familiar with the chassis, when you open the door, the window drops like a 1/4 inch. Then when you close the door, it goes back up the 1/4 inch. So I'm not quite sure how that works. That's going to take a little bit of research to see if we can make something happen. But I don't know. I guess the hack way to do it would be to not worry about it. This is hack number one. Number two would be to just make the new top of the door. There's like a stopper in the door for the windows to go up and down to for reference, and maybe make the top the lower point so the window won't actually seal. Based on the design, these seal pretty well, these cars. So you'll see here, like right now, this is down that little bit. That's how much it drops. Otherwise it goes up into there. So it's like 3/16 of an inch. If I move this out of the way, what a mess. What a complete mess. So like that's in the not latched position. That's still got a seal on the inside sitting against there. This has got a seal up here, but it should go up into this channel. And that would be really cool if we can get it to work. But I'm sure there's a sensor on the handle, because it's so fast. It happens so fast. It's like as soon as you go to pull it, it's going to drop. Like right there, the window drops, and then you pull it out. So I'm a little concerned. That's got me sweating a little bit, because I really don't want to have this full body harness in here. especially because I have like almost all of it out. And just like the Fox bodies, all we're going to do is weed it down to what's necessary. And if I need to put this freaking control module back in there that weighs 2 pounds to get one circuit out of that makes the windows go boop, 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 we're going to contemplate deletion. So we'll see. You know, I still want it to have power windows and locks and stuff. I want it to be very street car, but at the same time, it needs to be race car. So that's what's going on with the chassis side of it. You guys know that we have a more race chassis cage kit to go in it, so I got to cut the other one out. Not in a hurry to do that. We ordered a new fab table, and we ordered JD Squared's badass notcher, so I'm really going to wait until that stuff gets here. I didn't plan on totally gutting the interior out of it last night, but once the snowball gets rolling, you just kind of dive in. We also have the motor mostly built. I got some pretty good pictures of it going together. I'll post them on the video right here. But this is our RGR 3 valve with oversized valves, oversized head studs, copper gaskets, all RTV'd together, so it should stay sealed on the street. And I got to do cam timing next. And in the meantime, we've realized that our CG headers will not fit with the Team Z front plates, so we're going to have to get creative there. I'm thinking I'm going to end up making my own headers. It sounds like a pain, but kind of always wanted to do it. It's one challenge I have not dealt with yet, so I wouldn't mind doing that. We'll probably end up doing that. And then that's the biggest headache with the engine assembly. The only holdup on the engine assembly right now is that I want to get the oil pan coated because it looks like hell. I want to get the timing cover coated because that looks like hell. And I want to get the valve covers coated because they are starting to look like hell. So they had some stuff here that this was previous. This had one of these there, but the timing chain is right here. So when they tried to use PCV or crankcase evac right here, it was basically blowing a ton of oil out of it more than likely, where here is baffled on the inside. So it wasn't getting as much oil. So that's going to stay. This has to get ground flatter now that I've filled it with weld. And then it had 2 standoffs for the coil brackets. And we ground those off because we like to check spark plugs. And the mod motor has the 3 valve and the 5.4 and the 4.6. Actually, scratch that. The 3 valve is like the most convenient spark plug location of all the mod motors. I mean, they're literally just right there. They're at an angle, so you don't interrupt the fuel rail at all. I mean, you literally just throw a socket in there. You can pull a spark plug out of one of these in like 4 seconds, especially when it has remote mounted coils like this one does. So this one had remote mounted coils, but they were like on a bracket that sat on top of the valve cover. So in order to pull a wire and a plug, you had to pull the whole assembly of all 4 coils off, and you had to unplug all 4 of them. And it looked cool. I like when the coils are on top of the valve covers. I think that looks cool. But it's mostly on LS's and small block Fords is when it really switches up the look. And those ones, you don't need to take off to get spark plugs out. The mod motors, when they're on top, you usually do. So it's kind of a pain, you know. So this is where the spark plug location is, and then the coils were mounted like this, so you'd have to take it off. So anyway, long story short, we cut those off. We're going to get them repowder coated black, and we're going to mount the coils somewhere else. Where, that's to be determined. It does have smart coils on it, so you know, there's a lot of aftermarket. Motion's got some mounts for it. A couple other companies have mounts for them. So we'll end up putting them somewhere. But that is where we stand here. This is how much space it takes to put a streetcar together. Quite a bit when you get this involved. Car looks really good though, even stripped into wrecking yard condition. I really like this car. So next I'm going to continue ripping the body harness out of it. I think even before I do that, I'm really interested in how much weight we could take out of the doors. So I think I'm going to do, because I mean, you can tell that these are heavy. So I want to take this off, see what's inside that we can remove. I'm sure it's still got front speakers on it. I want to see if there's any kind of crash bar or protection on the inside that can be removed. And if all else fails, maybe we'll do some Swiss cheese to the inside, the old race trick of just removing everything you can. And if we decide to do that with a 3-inch hole saw and start boring holes into the door, I will keep all the pieces to see how much we take out. When removing weight, if you're into that, if you're trying to see if you can make your car lighter, do YouTube it. You'll see Tim McAmis videos. You'll see other. Tim McAmis is the one that I watch the most, but you'll see a lot of reputable builders that say just don't focus on the things that weigh 5 or more. Focus on things that weigh 5 or less, because every little thing is going to add up. For example, this insulation. This literally weighs nothing, but it's also not doing anything in this application. These foam pieces weigh nothing. But when you put all of this together, that's like 1 pound. Plus this one here. So it matters. Now, what I don't like is that this car's got Dynamat underneath the back seat, which is probably good because it's got an aftermarket upper control arm mount, and it probably transfers a shit ton of noise into that area, so it's okay. But I can't take it off. I'm not wasting time. That stuff is so nasty. It works great, but by design, it's just really gross. All right, I'm going to get into tearing the rest of this harness out, and when I have an update for you guys to show you what a mess of wiring is in this car, I'll lay it on the ground and I'll show you guys. It's going to be really interesting to see how bad it is. I actually messaged one of the owners of the car, and he's like, yeah, I actually paid to get that done too, which is sad. It's sad. All right, see you guys in a minute. All right, we are mere minutes away from pulling the entire wiring harness out of the white car. It looks kind of cool underneath because there's nothing under here. It's filthy, so that's probably the next project that we'll have Zach do. Good luck, Zach. He's just cleaning, there's just pure grime everywhere under here. And it all will come off relatively easy, which is nice. It's just grossness. That'll be the benefit of having bumper exhaust. Well, it will not blow all over under here, which is what the majority of this is from. Not sure if we're going to do much with the rear end project. You can see that that's beautiful, but there's a lot of welding done there. Dan's removing the wiring for the fuel pump, and then we will be able to yank all of the wiring out. We will be likely changing the fuel pumps, but we're going to leave them in here for now until we're ready to tackle the fuel pump project. Pretty crazy though. I think we're going to weigh the carcass here in a second. We're definitely going to weigh the wiring that's about to come out of it. We'll have Dan stand on the scale and hold the wiring, because that's going to be interesting. And then maybe we'll hang the bumper and the fenders back on and see what our blank slate at this point. There's obviously some still changes we got to make, but it would be interesting to see what the shell itself weighs. I don't think the cage that we're putting in it weighs more than maybe 50 pounds more than what the one that's in there, because all we're adding compared to this is the front dash bar, or the front windshield bar, a dash bar, A-pillar bars, and then floor bars. And I don't think that's going to add up to more than 50 pounds. So that's good. But wait till you guys see what the wiring is about to look like. All right, guys, that is a wrap on this update for the 3-valve project. It's in the air. You can see that there's no K-member. Took the K-member out. Power steering rack's out, steering shaft, everything. Obviously, the inside of the car is totally gutted. I think I showed you guys that. If not, here's a picture, because I do not want to drop it down. But you can kind of see in there maybe. So she's good to go. I have to take the coilovers and the spindles off, and the only reason I haven't yet is because I don't have the replacement coilovers. So I'll likely be putting it back together with the Team Z K-member, lower control arms, manual steering rack from Flaming River, and the motion column. That'll probably all go back in here so we can get the motor plates and the motor mounted and everything next week. So for right now, this is its current status. Then on Monday, we'll get the front suspension back in it and order some front coilovers, because I think we finally decided what we're going to go with. We'll clue you in on those later. And yeah, a lot of progress these last couple days on this car, but it only shows how much work we have to go. So we're going to end up cutting the floors out. I have to do some research on the certification process for the floor, because I think it'd be easier to literally just cut the floor out around the 6x6 plates and then put new tin in, and then put new plates on top of that. But I'm not sure what the rules are for that, so I have to look into that. Otherwise, she's good to go, and so are we. So thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, if you have not done so already, make sure you smash the subscribe button down below. I did not start the Camaro for you guys today. Sorry, I did not get as much done today as I wanted. But we are making progress, so I will keep you guys updated on the other projects. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, go buy a t-shirt on Teespring. We'll see you guys a little bit later this week.